It was a quiet Saturday evening in a suburban neighborhood. Marcus, a hard-working 19-year-old, had just finished his shift at a local grocery store. Marcus was a bright young man, balancing school and work to support his single mother and save for college. He'd recently purchased his first car, a used, but reliable, black Honda Civic. It wasn't flashy, but to Marcus, it was a symbol of independence and a reward for his perseverance. That evening, as he pulled into his driveway, Marcus felt a sense of pride. He locked the car and headed inside to share dinner with his mum. As the two sat down, their laughter was interrupted by a strange sound outside, loud revving engines, followed by tires screeching. Marcus immediately ran to the window and saw two men on motorcycles circling his car. His heart sank. Before he could react, one of the bikers broke the car window with a crowbar. The other hopped off his bike and climbed into the driver's seat. Within moments, the bikers sped off, one on a motorcycle, the other in Marcus's car. Marcus couldn't believe what had just happened. His mother called the police while he stood there, trying to process the situation. The car he had worked so hard for was gone, just like that. The police assured Marcus they would do everything they could, but Marcus wasn't content to wait. His car had a GPS tracker, or something he had installed just a month ago as an added precaution. He opened the tracking app on his phone and saw the car moving rapidly toward the outskirts of the city. Fueled by adrenaline, Marcus decided to act. He grabbed his old bike from the garage and began pedaling toward the car's location, all while keeping the police updated on its movements. He wasn't reckless, he just couldn't sit back and do nothing. Meanwhile, the two thieves, who thought they had just scored an easy target, were about to learn they'd made a huge mistake. What they didn't know was that Marcus's car had a few quirks. The gas gauge was faulty, and it looked like the tank was full when, in reality, it was nearly empty. As they sped down an empty stretch of road far from the city, the car sputtered and came to a halt. Frustrated, the man driving the stolen car cursed under his breath. The other thief pulled up beside him on his motorcycle, asking what was wrong. They quickly realized they'd run out of gas and had no choice but to push the car to the side of the road. At this point, Marcus had caught up with them. He stayed hidden, observing from a safe distance as the two men argued. Marcus could hear the faint sound of sirens in the distance, so he knew the police weren't far behind. But Marcus wasn't the only one closing in. As the bikers struggled with the car, a group of local residents from a nearby neighborhood noticed the commotion. This wasn't the first time suspicious activity had happened in the area, and the community had grown tired of it. A few of them decided to approach and see what was going on. When the bikers saw the group approaching, they panicked. One of them tried to get back on his motorcycle, but in his haste, he lost his balance and fell, twisting his ankle. The other attempted to make a run for it but didn't get far before the locals surrounded him. By the time the police arrived, the bikers were on the ground, begging for mercy. They'd realized they were outnumbered and had no way out. Marcus, still watching from a distance, finally stepped forward. He pointed to the car and told the officers, "That's my car." The officers quickly took the bikers into custody. They commended Marcus for his quick thinking and use of the GPS tracker. As the car was returned to him, Marcus felt a mix of relief and pride. Later that night, as he sat with his mum, Marcus reflected on what had happened. He realized that while the world can be unfair, staying calm and thinking things through can make all the difference. It was a lesson he'd carry with him for the rest of his life, a reminder of the importance of resilience and the strength of community. And as for the bikers, they learned the hard way that crime doesn't pay. The aftermath of that night left a ripple effect across the neighborhood and beyond. Word about what had happened spread quickly, at first among the local community, and then to neighboring towns. People were captivated by the story of a determined young man who didn't let fear or frustration stop him from reclaiming what was his. Marcus became something of a local hero, though he didn't feel like one. To him, he had just done what needed to be done. A few days later, Marcus received a visit from one of the police officers who had handled his case, Officer Ramirez. Ramirez had been impressed with Marcus's resourcefulness and how he had remained calm under pressure. He wanted to share some good news. "We dug into the backgrounds of those bikers," Ramirez began. "Turns out, they've been involved in a string of thefts and burglaries in the area. Your GPS tracker helped us finally catch them in the act. You didn't just get your car back, you helped us stop 2 serial criminals." Hearing this filled Marcus with a sense of pride he hadn't felt before. But Ramirez wasn't finished. "There's something else," the officer said, pulling out a small envelope. Inside was a check from the city's crime prevention fund, a reward for helping the police close the case. Marcus was stunned. The money wasn't life-changing, but it was enough to help him repair the damage to his car and put some extra savings toward his college fund. As the days turned into weeks, Marcus's story began to inspire others. Local news outlets picked it up, sharing the tale of a young man who combined determination and technology to outsmart criminals. But Marcus didn't let the attention go to his head. He remained humble, focusing on his studies and work, grateful for the support of his mum and the community that had his back. One day, as Marcus was working his shift at the grocery store, an older gentleman approached him. The man introduced himself as Mr. Harris, a retired mechanic who had heard about Marcus's story. "I admire your courage, young man," Mr. Harris said. "I know how hard it is to work for what you've got, and I'd like to help you out." Before Marcus could respond, Mr. Harris handed him a business card. "Come by my shop sometime. I'll help you fix up that car of yours at no charge. Consider it my way of saying thanks for standing up to those crooks." True to his word, Mr. Harris not only repaired the car's broken window and faulty gas gauge but also gave it a full tune-up. Marcus was touched by the man's kindness. It reminded him of the power of community, how people come together in times of need. But the story didn't end there. The experience had sparked something in Marcus. He began volunteering with local youth programs, sharing his story to teach kids about perseverance, responsibility, and the importance of standing up for what's right. He also started helping others learn about affordable ways to secure their belongings, including installing GPS trackers and other safety measures. Months later, as Marcus stood in front of a group of teenagers at a community center, he realized how far he had come since that fateful night. The experience had taught him not just about resilience, but also about the unexpected ways life can connect people and create change. As for the bikers, they were sentenced to several years in prison. During their trial, one of them expressed regret for his actions, saying, "I never thought someone like Marcus would fight back. It made me realize how much we take from others without thinking about what it costs them." In the end, Marcus's story became more than just a tale of a stolen car. It became a story of determination, justice, and the way one person's actions can ripple out to touch the lives of so many others. And while Marcus would always remember the night his car was stolen, he would also remember it as the night he discovered his own strength and the power of his community.